Hi everybody, happy Halloween! I am back with the 13 Haunted Projects of Halloween. Tonight is our last one, number 13, and I'm here to show you how to create a shaker card. I thought this one was kind of cute. I put a wooden witch's hat on the top of the frame where the sugar skull is. I just thought it kind of added some dimension, if y'all can see the dimension, and I thought it just looked kind of cute. So what we're going to do is we're going to create the shaker first, because I always have a lot of questions on how do I make a shaker, what do I use. We're going to do that first. The rest of the card is pretty simple to put together, so if you don't want to watch that, you don't have to, but I am going to show you how to assemble the shaker first. And then on the inside I just left that blank. I'm going to write a sentiment or something. I'm going to save this for next year. But I thought he was super cute. Now, the stamps that I used for the Sugar Skull and the Happy Halloween sentiment are from Graphic 45, the Hampton Art one. It doesn't have a name, though, for the set that I can see. But it's this stamp set that I used. And I also used paper from the Trick or Treat paper pad from the Paper Studio. This I purchased at Hobby Lobby, along with the 3mm foam. Now I use this foam a lot to back up my, you could see under my sentiment here. I use this a lot instead of the foam tape because the foam tape's more expensive. And I also use thinner foam as well. Not every Hobby Lobby has this thick 3mm foam. I'm not sure about Michael's or Joann's. I've never checked for it there. You can purchase it online. Also, another great video to watch on how to cut out foam for shakers and things like that is Scrap Diva 29. I'm going to post a link below to her video that she shares some tips and tricks on how to cut out this foam, where to purchase it if you can't find it. And Erica, if you're watching, thank you so much for that video. It's very inspirational. And I learned not to run it through my Cuttlebug twice. So I really, really appreciated watching that. And I'm just going to send you all over there to watch it as well. She has a lot of great videos and very inspiring, and some really great tips and tricks. Okay, so let's get started. Also, I just want to say really quick, thank you guys so much for sticking with me for this series this year and the previous years. I really appreciate you guys so much, and I appreciate you watching, your sweet comments, and your continued support. It means the world to me, and I thank you. Okay, let's get started. I'm going to show you the shaker part. So I'm going to get out my good old Cuttlebug right here. Hopefully y'all can see. Try to, so you can see right here what I'm doing. So the plates that I use to cut out my dies, and I think I showed you, I'm not sure. I use the Labels 26 dies. Now, not everybody has that, and I understand that, and that's okay, because I took the measurements, and if you don't, you can cut yourself out a square frame with these measurements. So, the large die that we're going to use to cut this foam and some of these other pieces, that size measures 3.5 inches. And then the smaller die to create the frame that goes inside, that measures 2 3/4 inches. So approximately 3.5 for the larger and 2 3/4 for the small. Now I used my large die ahead of time to create a decorative piece that goes behind the shaker. So you're going to need one of those. I also used the large die to cut out my clear acetate and my skull image. Okay, so you're going to use this large die 3 times for your acetate, your image, and then your decorative piece that goes behind. And then you're gonna use this with the smaller one to cut out your foam and your glitter piece that goes on top. And we're gonna do that right now. Get my sandwich going on here. We're gonna use the A plate, the C plate, my foam, and then I'm gonna place the cut side down onto the foam, the larger frame, and then I'm gonna line up the smaller frame on the inside. Now once you line this up, a lot of people like to tape it down so that it doesn't shift on them. I don't do that because I've been doing this for a while and I'm just really careful. But at this point, if you want to put a piece of tape there so that it doesn't move, go right ahead and do that. And then on top of that, I'm going to put my B plate. Okay. I'm just going to turn this so that I can reach my handle. And I'm going to shove that through. Now, like I said, a lot of times because the foam was thick, I would put it through my Cuttlebug twice. And I had a problem. Sometimes it didn't come out or it smushed my foam. So when I watched Erica's video, she said not to do that. So she just said to pull it apart or to shake it. See how I'm kind of shaking it back and forth? You want to do that real gentle. You don't want to pull it too hard. Okay, so we got our first piece off. Some people would discard this. Don't do that. Use it as, like, here for my sentiment. I use it for my dimensional foam. You just, you know, tear a piece off and you're good to go to put it behind your embellishments and stuff with some hot glue or, you know, the white glue. And then we're just going to pull this off gently. And we have our frame for our shaker card. So I'm going to set the frame aside. This piece, hang on to. You could do something with that as well later. And we're pretty much going to do the same sandwich for the glitter piece, except that I'm going to add a shim because my cardstock is very thick, the glitter paper. So what I'm going to do is put my frame cut side up this time instead of down. I'm going to put this one in the center. And then I'm going to put my glitter paper over it. I'm going to put my B plate on top. And then I'm going to add a cardstock paper shim to make sure it cuts really nice. And we're going to run that through. And we're done with the Cuttlebug for now. So I'm going to put that aside. Take my shim away. And I don't think I'm going to save this outside piece, but I'm definitely going to save this inside piece for something. I can use that for an embellishment or punched out later. So now we have our shaker frame that's going to go on top of our foam. Let me set the plates aside and we will assemble our shaker. Okay. So here's my piece of foam. Let me aim my camera down now since we are not using the Cuttlebug. What I'm going to do is lay my acetate right on top of that foam that we cut out. The glue I use is called Art Glitter Glue, and I don't get paid to advertise for them, and I don't get any discounts. I normally buy my Art Glitter Glue on eBay, but I will post the link below to the actual website. Okay, I love it because it's a great glue and I love the tip. It's nice and skinny, works really well for me. So you want to line up your acetate on top of your foam. And this is another reason why I'm doing this first, because this needs time to dry really, really well. Okay, so I'm going to turn the foam over and I'm going to push down. And the nice thing about the art glitter glue is it does dry clear if any gets into your acetate. Okay, and then on top of the acetate, I'm going to put the glitter. But before you do, if you want to stamp on your paper and you want it centered, put your glitter paper on here, then take your stamp, stamp it out so you know it's centered, and then remove your glitter frame. That's just a little tip, because the first time I tried to stamp on the white paper, I did not do that, and it was a little off center and it was really bothering me. So I decided to set the frame down and stamp it from there, and it worked out really well. So we're going to add some glue, and you just want to kind of move it around, center it real nice on top of your frame. And then I usually flip it around and push down really well on the foam without trying to slide it. Okay, so that part's finished. We have the clear acetate, the glitter frame on top. Eventually we're going to glue it, you know, down, but for right now we're going to set that aside and let it dry a little bit. We got our back piece here too that we can actually glue down. So these are the same size, and all I did was turn it around like that. So you take your square and you just want the points to show behind the white. So you could just glue that right now, and then we'll got a little glue piece stuck here, and then we'll assemble the card. I need my pen. There we go. Okay. And just line that up real good there. Okay. Okay, and then all I did was, see if I can find I added a few specks, and I added them all into the inside of my sugar skull here. Some people like to glue their foam down first so that their seed beads and stuff don't roll around. You can do that as well, but this is just the way I like to do mine. I added some orange sequins, some black sequins, some purple. You guys can hear my kitty cat Sherlock in the background. Some purple sequins there. And then I'm just going to add a few black seed beads. I think some silver, a couple silver ones. Just pop them in there. And I'll do some purple, and I just do like a little pinch. You know, you don't want too much because then it'll really cover up your image. You just want enough to make it into like a fun shaker. And then I'm going to do some orange here. Oops, move that little guy over. Okay, so I think I've given the frame and the acetate enough time to dry. So now on this side of the foam, hopefully my glue is going to come out. I'm going to add my glue all around the frame. This is really where you want it to seal up well, because you don't want any of those seed beads escaping or your sequins to escape your card. And I'm just going to pop this right on top of the white, line it up. Move that a second and press down. And voila, we created our shaker. Let's set that aside to let it really set up and dry nice for us. And to create the card, the actual card part here, I have one sheet of 10.5, or one sheet of 10 by 6.5. Basically, all you have to do is fold it in half. And use your bone folder. Okay. That's going to create a card that measures 5 by 6.5. So then your first piece that goes on, which is our green piece, measures 4 3/4 by 6 1/4. And also the white sheet that I use for the inside of the card here, that also measures 4 3/4 by 6 1/4. Put that on. And that's basically going to give you a little black border all the way around. Now, for the inside, what I did here was I cut some decorative corners. I punched these out. And I used my bat punch from Martha Stewart. And I kind of used it backwards, and I'll show you how in a second. I took the corner of the white piece and I lined it up in my bat punch to where those two fang looking things right in here. Put the point of the paper in the center and punched it out, and it gave me that really cool decorative corner. And I did that for all 4 corners, and you're going to do that again for another piece on the front of the card. Okay, so I'm going to set that aside. If you don't have that punch, that's fine. You know, use whatever decorative punches you have in your stash. Okay, and then you can stamp the inside, do whatever you'd like. I'm just going to leave it blank and maybe put a sentiment or a stamp in it next season. Okay, so the inside's done. Our first sheet is done. The next sheet is the purple. And this is the one we're going to do the bat corners on, or just a decorative corner punch. This piece of decorative paper measures 4 1/4 by 5 3/4. Kind of center that. And then we're going to have this next piece is the white piece, and as you can see on here, I dry embossed some of the spider web pattern with my spider embossing folder. So I did it to this paper as well. I haven't inked it yet. I took a little bit of Black Soot Distress ink from Ranger. Just go around the corners. And then the raised part of the spider web, you want to lightly, you don't want to push down really hard with your sponge. You just want to lightly brush across the raised spider web part. And that will kind of color your spider webs without getting too much ink on the white cardstock itself. If you press too hard, you're going to get black ink all over on the white, and you really just want to bring the spider web to life by lightly running it over. Okay, so then once that's done, I'm going to glue that on, and this piece that I used to create the spider web paper measures 3 3/4 by 5 1/4, and I just kind of lined up my points with my decorative corners here and tried to center it as best I could. Okay, so now for the shaker piece, we're going to put that on here and kind of center that. For this piece I used hot glue. You can use your tape runner, whatever you like. It's just, I love using hot glue. It's so easy for me, especially when I'm putting my shakers on. Just kind of center that as best we can. And then for the witch's hat, I used one of these wooden witch's hats a friend of mine sent me in a stash, and I just kind of put your shakers down below, and I just kind of lined it up where I wanted. I'm just going to add glue to the part that's going to go on the frame. Right there. And pop that on. I kind of wanted it to look like the Sugar Skull was wearing the witch's hat. Okay, so now that that's done, I have my sentiment. I have the same size foam that I used for the shaker. I'm going to add hot glue here and a little bit to this top corner of the sentiment, because that's actually going to adhere onto the frame itself. Okay, so all I did here next was take 3 sequins, or each color that I added to the shaker. So I added black, purple, and orange. And I have my tweezers here. And I just add a little bit of hot glue and pop those on. So I have black, purple. Oop. Sometimes the tweezer likes to work. And orange. You can also use the liquid glue for this. You don't have to use hot glue if you don't want to. It's up to you. So I did 3 here, and then I lined up 3 at the top. So we have the black, and then the purple, and orange. So I hope if you didn't know how to create a shaker, you kind of have the basic idea of how to create one now, and play around with your dies and your images and just have some fun making cards. These are great for tags. You can even make a ton of shakers up ahead of time and, you know, pop them on tags. Make Christmas ornaments out of them too. They're super cute, and I plan on doing that and maybe doing a future video of that as well. Thank you guys so much for watching. Thank you for watching the series. I hope you enjoyed it. Happy crafting and happy Halloween. Take care.